Vons presents.
Welcome everybody. How are we all doing? Wrong one. Yes, it is in fact I, Pyrotechnics, and I always have to adjust my chair whenever I get into position to cast. I don't know why, but I do. How are we all doing? How's everyone? My mic is way far from my face because it's like kind of sensitive, I think. And the Facebooks are already lighting up. Yeah. I'll get back to it. I will definitely get back to it, but I am going to be casting a game very, very soon. Very, very, very soon. As soon as I can pull up the download. It is actually 8 p.m. on the money. This is my third replay. This is my third show in a row. So I'm going to keep doing that. Because right now it's starting to grow on me. And I'll keep making terrible jokes. I should be hydrating right now. I'm going to get some water. Excelente. Water's good for you. It's so good. Alright, let's get into this game, everybody. And here we are. Belshir Vestige. There's going to be some interesting to pronounce names. I'm going to do my best. We'll make this happen. We have spawning in the top left-hand corner, the Red Terran, Naerok. Oh yeah, look at that command center. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the blue Zerg, Caiser. Not Permanente, but more of the Kaiser variety that ruled Germany from the early, I want to say the late 1800s to the early 1900s. My world history is complete crap since high school. But let's open up these tabs, ladies and gentlemen. We are at 10 supply to 10 supply, Naerok and Caiser. It'll be interesting to see what they do on Belshir Vestige. This is a awesome map in the pool. Speaking of, there is no pool going down for Caiser. He is taking a very early gas and doing the gas trick, so he is able to spawn himself another one of those drones before he does anything else, and he builds up an Overlord as well, of course. He sent out his scout right now. Let's see what happens there. We can follow him right along. But he's going to run straight into this eventual Terran wall-off. Maybe he will get through in time. He is very early on in his scouting, 1 minute and 45 seconds into this game on Belshir Vestige. Both the scouts are going to miss each other over there in the minimap right now. As we see, Naerok's SCV is going down the exact opposite path, as is very typical of early scouting maneuvers. But going back over to Kaiser's scout, he is going to be able to make it in just in time and see that there is in fact nothing all that interesting and different going on. He's going to see all of these SCVs and what they're doing. A couple of them are pulled off and try and kill that probes, drones, and SCVs. You got to learn the difference if you want to make anything happen. But back over here, we see that Naerok has actually managed to scout this fast expansion. Early hatch first. He does not know it is a hatch first because he has not gone into the base. He probably suspects something of that nature, but he's going to hide his SCV over here. So will we see some proxy rack shenanigans? Perhaps we will. It is always fun to see those types of matches. I believe this is Diamond League, by the way. And of course, Cheese is applicable in all the leagues. So there's nothing wrong with that at all. The command center is being upgraded right now to an orbital, and a spawning pool finally goes down in Naerok's base while he takes a first gas. That first one was just a trick. Oh my goodness, Naerok and Kaiser's probes and drones have spotted each other out at the third base, or what could potentially be a third base, but Naerok is leaving his SCV there. Also, he is noting that it is now safe to expand. He does, in fact, himself take an early expansion while there are almost no units, just one Marine out on the field to prevent any other types of scouting or potentially a little bit of cheese coming out of Caiser, but of course there is no such cheese. A full maxed out on gas, and only a queen in production, so 2 queens in production, sorry. It's going to be a macro game, ladies and gents, with both players on 2 bases right now. One of them is almost done. In fact, Kaiser's is finished, I'm sorry. A queen is going on, but no other saturation, and if you look at that worker count right now, 1818 is dead even, considering that the Zerg player has in fact had a lot more time to be able to expand up and drone up on his base, but because he decided to go saturate his gas very quickly, he in fact is researching Ling speed, even though there are no Lings in production. So we're going to see some early harassment, but it'll be interesting to see how this fares, because Naerok is constructing a bunker at his natural. He suspects some kind of play like this, some kind of early harassment out of the Zerg player, and he is quite right to do so. 4 Marines are finished to load up that bunker nice and cozy. And of course, the mules and the SCVs continuing to be cranked out of that orbital command center, and a couple more Marines are going down. Meanwhile, Caiser, back at his base, has his 2 queens out in front, so he is trying to fend off any sort of attacking that's going on there. A 3rd queen in production, and we will likely see a 3rd base taken either here or here, but this SCV is still not spotted. Caiser does not see it. What is he going to do? That SCV is just continuing to scout up and see what goes on the side of the field. Very good move. Caiser actually has 3 queens right now, so he's going to be spreading all the creep. 4 queens. 3 of them are at, however, his natural base, and it looks like another base will go down. That SCV was in fact killed by the Zerglings, so Caiser did in fact know that that was there. Although it might have seen that probes, drones, SCVs. I'm doing it again. Coming in to build this 3rd hatchery. 6.5 minutes, a bit late on a 3rd base, and still no harassment coming on out of Caiser. So what's next for our Zerg player? He is building a couple of Lings. He has got a lot more drones in production. He is continuing to drone up effectively, but 2 factories are going down right now over at Naerok's base. So we're going to see, yes, the swap goes down, the reactor, probably some Hellions or Widow Mines that Terran are so fond of in this HOTS play. We do see 2 Hellions being produced, and now Kaiser's going to be in a lot of trouble right now unless he is able to scout this out in time and see that kind of thing is going down. He can't really do much with these 2 Lings. He's not going to be able to do much of anything if he doesn't spot it. And this Overlord very slowly lumbering across the map. But right now, those Lings are going to get fired down without seeing much of anything. Caiser might be in a spot of bother right now. He is going to not see these 2 factories producing out Hellions, continuing to produce out Hellions, and Blue Flame, the OP upgrade that is no longer so OP in production, but a Baneling Nest and +1 Zergling melee attacks is going down while another gas is being taken at the natural of Caiser. His 3rd base is starting to be queened up, and his 1st is very well saturated. His 2nd is on its way. 2 Evo chambers, so Carapace is also being researched, but this is going to be a Ling Bane army composition. We'll see how he transfers out of it, but right now he's still sitting on a hatchery that is very close to becoming a lair. So what is he going to upgrade to? What is he going to tech to? I would hopefully suspect, well, he's already in a decent position. If he wants to go roaches, he's probably going to get mutas instead, because that is why these lairs tend to go down. So we'll see what comes up in production. We see Bane speed and, of course, stim packs. So a lot of research into heavy bio. Of course, all Zerglings are bio. Or all Zerg units are bio, but you know what I mean. A lot of gas. I would expect mutas sometime soon, but we still, there we go. Finally see a Spire going down. I do not know where it is. I'm going to hunt around for it. There it is, right by the 2nd base. So hopefully some muta harassment, but there hasn't really been any serious harassment, and both of these bases are very saturated for our Terran player, including a heavy amount of gas taken, and we just have so many Hellions, so many that will be able to deal so much damage, and right now if they wanted to run out, there would be nothing Caiser could do about this. Absolutely nothing. If we take a look at our army supply, it is actually tilted heavily in the Terran player, but of course we see that the Zerg has been able to pull away on 3 bases that he has nearly saturated right now. But this Hellion army is moving out, and is there going to be anything that can stop it? I don't think so. These couple of queens are going to get fired down pretty well, even though they're going to take a couple of Hellions with them, and they're not even microing super effectively, so not even. One queen goes down and the other one stays attacking, but this base is going to take a lot of damage. We will see on the units lost tab. Oh, so many things being lost for Caiser. He was not prepared for this at all. 10.5 minutes, almost 11 minutes into the game. Caiser does not have nearly enough units. And he's going to start microing those guys away. Those Lings are not going to do a lot of damage. They're going to get roasted down by those Hellions Blue Flame. And, oh my goodness, Naerok is not even going for them. He's shooting straight for those drones who have to get pulled, unfortunately. So the units lost just keeps getting worse and worse. Caiser is in real bad shape. He did not suspect those Hellions at all, and he's no longer even microing a lot of his workers. The Hellions do get fired down by the sheer number of those Lings, but no worse for the wear right now is Naerok, who is continuing to tech and mech, building himself some Widow Mines, an armory, and a siege tank with 1-in-1 upgrades as well for his bioforces. So, what will we see out of Caiser? Will he be able to counterattack? He was clearly not prepared for this, so he has a few mutas on the field, but they're not doing anything. One Ling running up to see if there's a third base. He knows there is not, but there is, of course, a third one on the way. This will be blocking it effectively, but a couple of Hellions will be able to take that one down. No problem at all. And right now, Naerok is in great position. Those mutas going in for a harass, but how much work will they be able to get done, especially if they decide to march through the front of the base? Not a lot. A couple of Marines here to scout. They will see those Mutalisks coming, but there is no air defense, so maybe, just maybe, if Caiser gets in time, he can take out a lot of these SCVs and do a serious bit of damage. Seeing that there is, in fact, an armory going down, the SCVs are microed very, very well. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Combat shield and concussive shells being researched, so heavy bio play going down, and those Mutalisks are going to get out just in time, doing a little bit of damage at the same time. And of course we see a hive in production, so straight to hive tech. Meanwhile, worker count is still all the way up for Caiser, but he's still a little bit behind from where he was before. Those Hellions did a lot of damage. You saw the units lost. It was ridiculous. And we see 2 and 2 going down, so we are committed to a ground force. What is our Zerg player going to be getting? I would expect, based on his ground upgrades, he would be going straight into Zergling with, of course, the Ultralisks. But even more gas going down for our Terran player right now as he researches combat shield. It's almost up. Terran armor 2 and more Widow Mines, and now some air defenses in production. A lot more barracks right now going down. We have 7 barracks. I'm sorry. Yes, 7 barracks. 2 are in production, and the rest are there. Heavy bio play. That third base that is very undefended by Naerok is going to get fired down by a lot of those mutas, but of course they are going to have to run away so that they do not, in fact, bite the big one. A lot more Zerglings still in production right now for Caiser. He is massing up a decent force of them, and yes, an Ultralisk Cavern goes down, so we will hopefully see that being maxed out. Zergling Adrenal Glands going down. This is a rare upgrade. You do not see it all that often in any type of play, really. I myself have actually never gotten this, and I main Zerg. How embarrassing is that? 2 hatcheries, 1 expansion, and 1, another macro hatch going down right now. So it looks like our Zerg player is looking to max out on Ultralisks, and of course, a lot of Zerglings. He is not upgraded too heavily. He has 2 2s. The Terran player is doing about the same, but the units tab, we see quite a lot right now of bioforces, but not terribly many. Not terribly many. And Naerok is actually a lot more ahead in overall supply, but that's because he has some bigger units. But Caiser is not far behind him right now. Look at that production. 4 Ultralisks coming out. Chitinous Plating coming up. And, of course, we have 2 armor and attack coming down, but this giant Terran force is moving out on the field. Sorry, I mismanaged that clicking. The Widow Mines are going to plant themselves in position. I don't know if Kaiser's going to get enough of his forces out in time. He doesn't really have enough on the field. Of course, we do see a few Banelings coming out, so finally making use of that nest and those upgrades, but those Widow Mines are just too many, and this giant Terran Bioforce is going to do a lot of work. These Ultralisks are a little bit out of position. There are not nearly enough of them. They are going to go in and for the kill, but they are by themselves, undefended. These Zerglings and these Banes need to get here in time, but are they going to? Those Widow Mines doing a lot of damage to those small, squishy Bioforces, but a lot of those Terran's units do, in fact, go down. Those Zergling units, those Zerglings and those Ultralisks just doing quite a lot of damage, but of course the Terran does come out on top, and these Widow Mines, once they are reloaded, are going to just nuke down anything that Caiser can throw. So he is unfortunately going to lose his natural, and he may lose his Spire even if he's not producing much out of it. A lot more Ultralisks and Zerglings in production, but the Terran player is sitting comfortably right now at what he has got. And of course, those mines, even though Zerglings have drawn the fire of some of them, there's going to need to be some detection to clean them right on up, because they are going to be a huge headache for our Zerg player as he continues to build out. These two Zerglings completely sacrificial, waiting for Naerok to fire them down. And of course, we see the Overseer coming in, but they're going to get hit. The Overseer, oh, the Overseer takes a lot of damage, and it goes down. No more detection for our Zerg player. He needs to get his micro in gear to be able to detect a lot of these things. And of course, he continues to commit heavily to this Ultralisk and Zergling strategy. He now has about 7 Ultralisks and quite a few Zerglings in production. Sorry, not production. A few Zerglings out on the field. He needs to build more if he wants to make them any kind of useful. But this giant Terran force and, of course, these Widow Mines, Widow Mine Bio Ball with a lot of these Medivacs are marching straight away into the base. But we have a lot of Ultralisks out on the field, and if the Terran player isn't careful, he is going to lose to this force, even though he is much lower on it. Those Widow Mines have been able to get in position decently. They do a lot of damage. And, of course, the target firing down of the Ultralisks while the Terran player moves away very slowly with his heavily stim Marines. Oh, there goes more Widow Mines firing down. I think Naerok got a much better piece of that one, that's for sure. He is even able to safely expand right now, sitting on 4 bases while our Zerg player is also on 4. But remember, the Zerg needs to be at more bases, at least one more. Oh my goodness, and a few misclicks of his Ultras. He takes a lot of damage right now. Caiser is in bad shape. This Bio Ball of Marines and a few Marauders and, of course, Mines are going to do a lot of damage. And apparently this game was streamed as well. Stream crashed randomly. Sorry, go. Indeed. One Swarm Host down for Caiser. Might have been a misclick, but we'll see. And, of course, all are left but Ultralisks. They are getting fired down. These Marines are just too fast for them, even though the Cleave is doing a lot of damage. This may, in fact, be the end for Caiser. He is very behind in his macro game right now. And he is in a lot of trouble, even though he's producing a lot of Swarm Hosts and a lot of Ultralisks, and frankly, not even enough. No Zerglings, because they just get nuked down so very fast, so very fast. And if you take a look at the units lost, I mean, it is all together in Naerok's favor right now. He is in control of this game. He is going nowhere anytime soon. Those Widow Mines are assuring that a lot of the Zerg units can't get anywhere near. And I think this is going to be it. The bases are starting to go down. What's in production? 3-3 Terran, armor and attack. So the macroing continues, even while these units are sitting comfortably at home. But if he's not careful, Naerok is going to lose a bunch of these units. He does micro very well with his Medivacs and heads on home for the time being, the damage having been dealt, while another force is getting ready to move into position on this 4th base. And meanwhile, these Ultralisks are going to rush to get there, but are they going to be able to get there in time? I don't know. The Medivacs are in position to heal quite well, and the Ultralisks are going to clean up a lot, but there is not enough anti-air to be able to deal with these Medivacs, and there is no danger whatsoever as long as Naerok has decent micro. The Terran is in control right now. Creep spread also a little bit thin, so of course we are going to see Caiser not going to be able to move super duper effectively throughout the entire map as he'd like to. He's only about halfway there. And, alright, one Medivac just sitting there. Not doing a whole lot, but that's okay. Naerok's got quite a lot to spare, and this Widow Mine is just laughing at the fact that it cannot be seen or detected. Another hatchery to replace the one that was in fact lost. And finally, we see another hatch coming out, a 5th base being taken for our Zerg player, but it is a little bit late in the game, 23 minutes in. And the Terran has been sitting on 4 bases this entire time. He is able to replenish so well. Infestor Tech, so a tech switch going down right now for Caiser. But is it going to be enough? I don't know. One Medivac coming in for a little bit of a drop, and there is no units to deal with this right now. And of course, this other expansion being fired down by the Marines. If it doesn't get canceled, he's going to lose all those resources, and he does. Although he is committed fully to this assault, Caiser does not want to deal with this giant bio ball anymore, but he is too slow off creep. He does not even need those, he doesn't even need these, he does not even need these overseers is the word I'm looking for, to detect what's going on, and this Bioforce is going to come in. Oh my goodness, and a whole lot of damage will be dealt. These Overlords are going to be able to be fired down if there is a lull in the action, as they're just sitting out there derping. But right now we see in the middle of the map. A lot more action, and of course the Terran player heads out. The fungal growths go down, and a very good one at that, even though they are going to, in fact, not quite get away because even more fungal growths go down. So maybe... No, they do! They do get away! My goodness, Naerok saves so many of his units right now because there was just no more energy with those infestors to do the fungals, but it was a valiant effort, and Caiser trying to make the tech switch, trying to do a really good job. He may very well get away with it, but right now Naerok is still in a better macro and micro position. Ugh. Those Widow Mines at key points, folks. That is what is getting him so much damage and preventing the Zerg player from being able to do a whole lot, to be honest. He cannot expand here thanks to this Widow Mine. He's going to try again, but he needs to fire this thing down. He needs to get his units out there. He's not even noticing it. This hatchery is just going to continue to take terrible, terrible damage. And right now, Naerok goes in for another drop. He sees that all of these, that this hatchery is attempting to be built. And of course, right now, Caiser nowhere near close enough to be able to stop this. Even though, yep, nothing much. He should be getting this Widow Mine. Why isn't he doing it? No, he goes right on back. But this Bioforce of Naerok's is going to be marching right on in again. And they are just too many. The tanks in siege mode are going to be able to mop up quite nicely. Those Ultralisks are doing a lot of damage, but not quite enough. And all of those infestors go pop. Man, Naerok is running this show. The income and supply lost is just ridiculously in our Terran player's favor. And if you go over to income, you can see that the Terran is not very far behind the Zerg player, and he actually has more harvesters too. So production-wise, they're about evened out, and the micro for Caiser is just non-existent. He is losing almost all of his units every engagement, and he's not even noticing these very basic things like this Widow Mine that Naerok has out there. On the other hand, he is still able to replenish very quickly, but he doesn't really seem to be committed to any particular tech strategy at this point. He's trying, okay, I'll get infestors and some Ultralisks. I've got, of course, a lot of my Zerglings. They're not even that useful at this point in the game, though, just because they're getting fired down so fast by this ridiculous army. Just a couple of siege tanks is all it takes to do a lot of damage to them. Of course, Marauders slowed them down in the coming, and, of course, we have the stimmed Marines doing so much damage to them. Looks like Naerok's going to take another expansion as well. So right now our Terran player is containing very, very well, establishing good map control. And it looks like Caiser just is totally ignoring these little distractions that are very, very crucial. Doing a very good job of it too, actually. This game is a very long game, by the way. Super-de-duper long. But Naerok running the show, taking out that fourth base of Kaiser's. He is nuking down the Ultralisks as they come. Even the fungal growths are not stopping a lot of these units. They do have to get going back home, and a lot of them are very, very hurting. A little bit of mismicroed right there, but they are moving on up. Naerok is going to be able to take the space down, and Caiser GG's, leaves the game, realizes he does not have anything else left in the bank. That is it, ladies and gentlemen. Well, you know, that was a good game, but Naerok really, really ran the macro show. I was super impressed by his ability. Even though Caiser wasn't putting on a lot of pressure, he was very, very impressive in how he was able to handle and respond to every little tip and trick the Zerg player tried to do. He was all over the map all the time. Naerok got his Widow Mines in key places. He did little drops of like 8 Marines only, just to distract, and then, boom, while you're out of position, I'm going to come back to the other side and just beat up your base. That was awesome. Naerok really knew how to keep his opponent